Ray is love, Ray is light, Ray is life.
Sure OP.
You duelists have been doing this for 8 years. 8 years.
Good afternoon, jank enthusiasts. I'm MBT, and this is 10-minute testing. I simply can't believe it. For some unknown reason, after years of doing the literal exact opposite, Konami's decided to hand people a playable deck for $30. Now that the legendary list is topping regionals, I guess it's time to take Striker seriously. Presenting Sky Striker.
She's beautiful, chat. Oh my lord.
So here's the list from Mason Broussard's top 4 finish at the Houston Regional. As always, I'll give you a background about the archetype, a little bit of a discussion about what I hope the deck can do, and of course the card by card. But first, this video is sponsored by Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck. Despite what some Yugi-tubers who shall not be named would have you believe, the TCG is alive and well. And if you're looking to start your journey into paper, there's no better place to begin than Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck. With up-to-the-minute reporting on every major tournament worldwide, searchable and interactable pie charts and deck lists, and all the bells and whistles you've come to expect from one of the best draft and collection management sites on the net, Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck is the place to be. Check it out today at www.ygoprodeck.com. Now back to the video. With that, let's slide into Sky Striker. Sky Striker is a deck that's been on and off playable for 7 years now, and plays like nothing else. While most of Yu-Gi-Oh's decks are designed to perform a spreadsheet combo available on Metafy for the price of Pack's mortgage payment, Sky Striker is a thinking male lesbians deck. It aims to play an actual, factual control strategy, using a bevy of powerful spell cards to fuel the bonus draw on endgage while keeping an opponent on the ropes. Unlike other strategies, which often require direct archetypal support to remain relevant, Sky Striker can also theoretically get more powerful anytime a pushed spell card makes its way into the metagame. And lo and behold, we've got some. Radiant Typhoon Vision and the Fallen of the Virtuous are just what the doctor ordered for this pubescent child and her army of robots, and the new links available in the legendary box, Amatsu and, finally, Camellius, sure help as well. Together, these add consistency and flexibility to what was already an extremely consistent and flexible deck. But can it hold up to today's top meta strategies? Well, we'll have to see. So with that, let's get into the card by card. First up, we've got 3 Rays, 1 Rose, triple Linkage, triple Engage, triple Widow Anchor, 1 copy of Area Zero, 1 Lemnis Gate, 1 Hornet Drones, 1 Eagle Booster, 1 Shark Cannon. We are playing 3 Radiant Typhoon Vision and the searchable Mystical Space Typhoon, alongside 3 of the Fallen and the Virtuous. We've got 3 Forbidden Droplet, 3 Upstart Goblin, the 1 Triple Tack, a Crossout Designator, Called by the Grave, and then some hand traps, Ash Blossoms, Drolls, and a Ghost Bell in the extra. We've got our Fallen and the Virtuous targets, Ecclesia and Albion. We've got Evil Swarm Excite on night to clear up board states. We've got prototype Sky Striker Ace Amatsu, who can be made with a Sky Striker Ace, can be summoned once per turn, and when a monster your opponent controls with 2,000 or more attack activates its effect, you can make the activated effect become Destroy a Sky Striker Ace Link monster your opponent controls. If an attack is declared involving this card and an opponent's monster, you can target a Sky Striker Ace monster you control, and a card your opponent controls, destroy them. We've got a Zeke, an Azalea, a Camellia, finally, which must be Link summoned, can only be special summoned once per turn, and if you have 3 or less spells in your graveyard, can send a Sky Striker card from your deck to the graveyard. If sent to the graveyard, you can target a monster your opponent controls, special summon this card to their field, and if you do send that monster to the graveyard, also you get the monster back during the end phase of this turn. We're playing 1 Hayate, 1 Shizuku, triple Kagari, and triple Zero. In the side, we've got Hamp for decks that need to get Kaiju'd, Feather Duster, double Lightning Storm, double Dark Ruler No More, triple Forbidden Crown. This is one of the most adept decks in the format at wielding this card. Triple Shared Ride, double Thrust, and a Different Dimension Ground as our thrust target. So with that, let's hop in some games. Our first match is up against Magnet Warrior Fiendsmith, and we are on the draw, exactly where we want to be. Though we don't have anything to interact with our opponent on their first turn, we do have breakers for the crackback. They're going to begin with a copy of Fiendsmith Tract for Lurie for Requiem for Lacrima. Lacrima is going to send a copy of Engraver to the graveyard. Then they'll activate the Engraver effect, shuffling back this Lurie to summon it to their side of the field before activating the Engraver in hand in order to grab another Tract. From here, they can link off for a sequence, activate the sequence effect to shuffle 2 back, and then they can afterwards make Lacrima, activate Lacrima, bring back the last remaining Engraver, and overlay for a copy of Wave High King Caesar before I can do anything about it. Down comes Sigma Minus for a copy of Plasma Magnum. That will activate in order to grab a copy of Bonding, which they will then activate for Plus Minus. That's going to be summoned from the hand by binning 2, and then afterwards I'll trigger the effect of the Sigma Plus to bring back this copy of Beta, who will trigger in order to grab from deck to hand a copy of Omega. From here, they can link off for an SP Little Knight, trigger the effect of the Plasma Magnum, setting a Delusion, summon out this copy of Epsilon, and activate its effect in order to summon back this Sigma Minus. That'll be an overlay for Gallant Granite, grab an Adamantipator Researcher, and then summon it to their side of the field. What's 3+2? Now, this is a devastating card, but we do thankfully have Anne out. We're going to go for Omega Plus into Delusion before passing and Thankfully, we found a monster here. Okay, we're going to begin with a copy of Upstart Goblin, and that's really good. Let's go Engage, that gets Nat Beasted. Let's go Widow Anchor, that gets Nat Beasted. Let's go Linkage, that gets Nat Beasted. And let's go Droplet, send the entire hand and half the field in order to negate everything. Down goes the Nat Beast, and the SP Little Knight, and the Wave Hiking Caesar, and the Tellusion, and down comes Kagari for us at Point of Resolution. We're going to be able to resolve all these bad boys, grabbing a copy of Lemniscate and a Widow Anchor off the bonus, then Kagariing back the Engage. Do you think we have 3 in there? We grab another Linkage and go to combat. We'll walk over the Nat Beast, activate Linkage here in order to go into a 0. Activate the effect of Lemniscate here in order to shuffle back, and then afterwards we can attack into the Omega, trigger the effect of the 0 to summon a copy of Rose and a copy of Ray, popping the fusion in the process, walking over the DDD Wave Hiking Caesar, taking 12 off the Lacrima, and then walking over the SP before using Ray to tag into a copy of the Amatsu. We can use Lemniscate to perform an immediate link summon for Azalea, getting rid of the Tellusion as we get in for 15. Then in main phase 2, we can link off for Shizuku, set 1, and pass turn. How's that for a simplified board state? Finally, we can Shark Cannon away the Fiendsmith, so they can't do anything here. That's a pretty good draw. They'll go for Fiendsmith's Tract for a Lurie once again, trigger the effect of the Lurie, summon it to their side of the field for Requiem, but not a lot they can do from this position. Lacrima here is going to send from deck to graveyard a fat nothing, courtesy of our Widow Anchor. We'll take it as well. They'll set 1 card and pass back to us. This should be the end of the game. That Ray is a fortuitous draw. We will go Kagari to recycle the Linkage and go to the battle phase, walk over the Lacrima, activate Linkage. Lacrima triggers here in order to summon back Sequence, but that does less than nothing. As we go into a copy of 0, we will 0 attack, then activate the effect of the 0 in order to summon both a Rose and a Ray. We'll pop that last remaining card and get in for 15 and lethal. So that's what the deck does on the draw, but how does it perform on the play? Well, previously the answer was not very well. But things have changed. Our opponent's on Cool Tune, and look at that, 4 hand craps and a 1-card Charter. Okay, we're going first. We're going to begin with a copy of Engage into a Fulos into a Linkage. Can't get those draws, buddy. We'll make a 0, and we'll add a copy of Lemniscate to hand, then activate the 0 into a Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill. Fine if you want me to, I'll set 4 and pass. We'll pass back to our opponent, who draws a JJ Cool Tune. That's horrifying. They're going to go for Cool Tune Mix. We will Forbidden Droplet to negate it, unfortunately only negating the search. They could still theoretically Synchro. They'll instead go JJ. We will activate 0, and they will Ash it. Okay, no big deal. They'll use their extra normal on Ghost Ogre, then tag it into a copy of Rico. That's great news for us because now we know everything. We will Widow Anchor the Rico, and then we'll chain Linkage, which allows us to send the Widow Anchor and grab a 0, cutting them off of a Synchro and getting us 0 access. Okay, this should be the end of the game. We'll go to the battle phase and attack with 0. We get over for a little bit, then activate the effect of the 0 in order to summon Ray and Rose. We'll pop that Cool Tune Mix and then get in for 15-15. From here, we will be able to activate the Ray effect in order to grab a Kagari. Kagari will grab back the Linkage and will Lemniscate so we can perform a link summon of this Camella. From here, we will add the Linkage to hand, get in for 15, then activate Linkage in order to go into a 0 pumped by 1,000 for lethal. So it's time for game 3, and you know what that means, a best of 3 versus meta. Our opponent's on Vanquish Soul Canine, and this hand looks pretty good. In draw, we're going to activate Radiant Typhoon Vision. We're going to grab that MST to our grip, and then we will go to the main phase where we will normal summon a Ray. We'll activate the effect, which allows us to go into a Sky Striker Ace 0. We will activate the effect in order to grab an Engage. Then we'll Upstart Goblin before activating the Engage and chaining the Mystical Space Typhoon. So at Point of Resolution, we will have 3 in the yard. We draw and get our little bonus there, a Radiant Typhoon Vision, which allows us to draw just a little more. We'll set 4 and pass, and dare our opponent to play. They're going to begin with a copy of Case for K9. We'll flip up the Fallen and the Virtuous in order to destroy it, sending a copy of Albion to the graveyard. Afterwards, they'll go for Rhoda. That's my Rhoda for a copy of Raisin, and this is just too many normal summons, right? They're going to go for Pot of Prosperity here and fight off the top. An Ash Blossom. That's a direct counter to our Sky Striker Ace 0, but activating the 0 doesn't turn on the Izuna. They're going to go for Raisin as their normal. They'll activate Raisin. We will activate 0. They will Ash Blossom, and then afterwards that permits them to make a pretty cool play with the Xiaolong. That said, they don't have access to any of their power plays. So they'll try to get in for a fair amount of damage, but we'll just take their monster and they'll scoop in response. Kind of a weird, clunky hand from our Vanquish Soul Canine player game 1. Game 2, that is not the case. Though we aren't going to trigger the Izuna, we do have some pretty powerful breakers. Our opponent's going to begin with a copy of Raisin. They are going to follow it up with a Case for Canine, and then afterwards they can, of course, link off for a Rock of the Vanquisher and use its effect to add back the Raisin before going for Yokel. Yokel here will summon out the Izuna, and of course the Izuna will trigger in order to send to the graveyard a Lupus. Yokel triggers in order to grab a Lantern, and then afterwards they can overlay for a Ripper. Ripper is going to trigger in order to grab a copy of Lantern before they go Holly Sue, reveal Raisin, summon it to their side of the field, then use the Fire and Dark courtesy of Lantern and Raisin for a Mad Love. Mad Love here, of course, can grab the field spell. They will activate Vanquish Soul Start before activating its on-field effect, targeting Dr. Mad Love and grabbing a copy of Caesar Valius. Finally, they're going to go for the Lantern, targeting the Lupus, then overlaying for a Nash Knight, and Pot of Prosperity for I guess we take the Izuna here. They'll pass turn and activate the effect of the Vanquish Soul start in order to set a copy of Snow Devil. I don't know how we're playing through this. Okay, that's a good start. We'll begin with the Fallen of the Virtuous in order to destroy the field spell. We'll chain Forbidden Droplet, setting a lot of cards in order to negate both the Ripper and the Nash Knight. We'll go to the battle phase, trying to force out some activations of cards, but unfortunately, going to end phase and resetting Fallen of the Virtuous is really the best I can hope for. Our opponent's going to go for Holly Sue for Heavy Borgar. They'll activate the Heavy Borgar effect to draw a card, and we are kind of a sitting duck here, unfortunately. They're going to go for Ripper effect in order to grab another K9 to hand before going for Caesar, popping back this copy of Borgar, then activating its effect, prompting the activation of the Widow Anchor. They will chain Heavy Borgar, we will chain Forbidden Crown, and knowing that we have nothing left in the tank, let's just scoop it up. So it's time for that all-important Game 3, and okay, well, this is a funny hand. It's basically going to be determined by the outcome of this Area 0. We're going to set a card, activate the Area 0, and fight off the top. Ooh, that is not what I'm looking for. We will take the Shark Cannon, set 3, and pass. Our opponent's going to draw for turn. We'll activate Shared Ride as early as possible, and then they will proceed to the main phase. They're going to normal summon this Mad Love, go direct for 12. Then in main phase 2, link off for a Rock of the Vanquisher, activate the effect. We will chain Shark Cannon, but because that performs a special summon, they will chain Retaliating Sea. Irritating for sure. We'll draw for turn. That's a pretty good one. We'll normal summon this Ray, go to the battle phase, walk over the Retaliating Sea, then activate the Ray in order to go into a copy of 0. We'll trigger the effect of the 0 to grab an Engage. Then afterwards they will Droll and Lockbird. We'll walk over the Rock of the Vanquisher. In main phase 2, activate Triple Tactics Thrust to set a second Engage and pass back to our opponent. They will draw for turn, and they did really need a Vanquish Soul there. A dark one is quite strong. They're going to go Holly Sue to summon Holly Sue. They'll activate Holly Sue to take. We'll activate Forbidden Droplet. They will Heavy Borgar. We will chain 0. 0 means we are going to be able to pop the field spell as they go into Borgar. We know it's an Earth in their hand. We can negate the Borgar, but they do still get to take the Ray. They'll go Rock in order to special out the Holly Sue, then Tribute summon the Izuna, setting a copy of Yokel to the graveyard to make Ripper. Ripper here is going to grab a Lantern, and of course the Lantern can target the Yokel to summon itself and the Yokel, activate its effect in order to grab a case for K9, and Yokel's effect in order to grab another copy of Izuna as they activate a case for K9 to get a copy of Naroi. They'll go to the battle phase, but this isn't lethal, so I'm still feeling okay with a pair of engages in my grip. They're going to go for a copy of SP Little Knight to banish one of them. It all rests on this single engage. We will activate it and add from deck to hand a copy of Linkage. We grab a Called By into Upstart Goblin into Linkage. They will activate Rock of the Vanquisher, and we can take the target. Get absolutely owned. Afterwards, we will go into 0 in order to grab the Fallen and the Virtuous, go to the battle phase, attack into the SP Little Knight, activate the 0 in order to summon from deck a copy of Rose and a copy of Ray. We'll pop the Yokel, get over the Rock of the Vanquisher, get in with the Rose, and then of course tag out with the Ray into a copy of Kagari. Kagari is going to target Linkage, which gets it back into our grip. We'll get in for 23, then activate the Fallen and the Virtuous to destroy our own card so that we are then free from our MMZ to make Linkage into Amatsu for lethal. Woof. So we're back with the deck, and wow, wasn't expecting TOS format to never end. I guess they call it Eternal for a reason. Let's do the pros and cons. First, the pros. 1, you can go first now. That's been a little bit of a weakness of the deck for a while, but you finally have the tools to not just cross your fingers and hope. 2, the deck's number 1 fear is Dracotail Flame, but now you've got a really simple way to dodge it through Droplet and the Fallen and the Virtuous. And 3, you'll actually improve as a player by playing this deck. I know it sounds ridiculous, but playing a control deck requires you to, learn what's relevant to control. It's a great starting point for a newbie. And the cons. 1, it is pretty skill testing. You've got a limited amount of interaction compared to the rest of the metagame, which means you're going to have to use it meaningfully. 2, Droll. As you add draw spells, you open up exactly this weakness. What are you going to do? Am I right? And 3, aren't you sick of Ray yet? All in all, oh my god, I love Ray. So that's that. Thanks so much for watching. This entire ordeal wouldn't be possible without the consistent funding I get from my patrons, some of whom have paid a lot of money for me to say their name at the end of the video. So here's me doing that. Absolutely Fran, Elena Tincher, Allison Elliott, Ally, APK Pearly Tier 0, Brett Henry, Broski TCG, Cap, Cool Name, Dark Rebel XYZ, DJ Elefante, El Gravo, Emiliano Deverio, NB Adams, Fabrizio Petroli, Hergalicious, Jackie Z, James Place, JP, Cole Offline, Creature, Legal Rights, Lucas Rosas, Luis Hernandez, Master Key 090, Matthew M. Derezzo, MBT Hablando en Español, MBT Plema Dolce, Mike Carlotti, N54 Lionheart, Nacho, Pombo, Pyramid Artisan Field Cloths and TCG Accessories, Rancer My Thing, Rohan Doge, Rose Lapine, Serpentax, Shifter.mp8, Sly Ninja 43, Susie's Strongest Soldier, Troy Says By Erasure is Gay, Uznik, Yuki Kazami, and Zircon's Sun. Couldn't have done it without you.